News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm local man Aaron VanTuyl, joined today by Chronicle Executive Editor Eric Schwartz, Chronicle VP Franklin Taylor, and Chronicle reporter Isabel Vander Stoep. And we're joined in spirit by sponsors Summit Funding and The Roof Doctor. It's nice to have everybody back. All of us under one roof again.
One happy family.
Feels weird.
One roof you could have repaired by the Roof Doctor, if you so desire. Getting this one out of the way early.
We just mentioned him. That doesn't cover us contractually.
All right, so fine. Eric's title is the Chronicle Editor-in-Chief, not Executive Editor. Yeah.
I think I'd know.
But you're wrong.
What is it?
Yeah, she's right.
Huh. I thought it was Executive Editor.
It was Executive Editor at one point.
So
were you demoted?
It's a funny story. When the Taylors bought the company, Denny Waller, former publisher, came on as a consultant. And his first email to me, he was like, and just if you need to put my title in, I'm executive editor. I was like, oh, shit. And he was like, anyways, they talked for a while and came up with editor-in-chief. So I don't know. I like it. That's what I had in college with old Brandon Hanson over at Eastern. So.
All right, great. Going back to the college days.
Yeah.
Cool.
I like the antiquated style. It's the first editor-in-chief since Brian Mitke, because he got to choose his own style, and he liked editor-in-chief.
Well, I'm glad you're happy with it. As we have a very packed docket of news items today, I have decided to issue each of you a skip pass. If we start upon a topic that you think we should skip or is skip-worthy, just shout skip or pass, and we'll skip it.
Skip or pass?
Either one. Choose your own adventure. That's kind of the theme of this podcast.
We've tried this before, and the rule will just get ignored or go away, or somebody will skip something that you really have a good joke about or what you think is a good joke.
Uh-huh.
And then you just spew out your joke real fast.
Yeah, you tried it one time, and I think I just muted you. And
that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. News items. First up, Goat Rock's wilderness fire grows to 80 acres. Conditions expected to worsen. This was as of Monday, so I assume there's been some sort of an update.
Yeah, Emily Fitzgerald and Jared Winselberger headed out to Packwood for a meeting at 5 o'clock last night focused on the fire, which I thought was interesting. They're having the meeting. I didn't really realize until I read Emily's story how very rare it is. Commissioner Lee Gross was at the meeting and said this is the first time this has ever happened that there's been a fire in the area and that Forest Service has actually met with residents. And he had nothing but nice things to say to the Forest Service for that. The Forest Service, in turn, updated all the residents on where it's at. Town's not at risk at this moment, but they want them to be aware that it could happen, though they think right now it's unlikely. The fire's at 80 to 90 acres, and one of the most interesting things I thought in the story was that one of the Forest Service officials noted that area of the forest has not been on fire since the 1400s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's
interesting that they know that.
Yeah, I thought so too. He was trying to describe how when the lightning-caused fire happened in August, they dropped some firefighters in there to kind of do what they can, but it's very, very steep terrain, so and nothing has happened to it in all that time, so there's only a limited amount of things they can do. And they thought the fire was pretty much out, and then last Friday, it kind of just came back and started running again, they said at the meeting that it's no longer passing tree to tree, but Jared got some really good photos of some burning trees last night, so it's definitely still active.
All right. Hope it doesn't continue to be active much longer.
Yeah, check out the story at Cronline, right? Lewis County Alert. You want to sign up for that if you haven't already, and the county will let you know if you're in danger.
All right. Next item, Veterans Memorial Museum to host free Revolutionary War demo this weekend. This is from 10 to 5 Saturday and Sunday. It's a free Revolutionary War demonstrations with living history reenactors with the intention of hosting the same event for the next 4 years. You can walk through an encampment of folks with historically accurate clothing and props. Museum Director Chip Duncan said these can be especially helpful when you're trying to get your kids to connect with the history. It's also a great excuse for anyone just itching to do so, to run around screaming 1776 at strangers, whether or not they have a British accent. Are you guys going to the Revolutionary War demo?
No? This is Isabel's story. I was giving her first crack at it.
Sure. I'll hit it up.
Wow. What a trio of patriots I've got on my hands.
Right there.
Yeah, I can't help what my brain does. I don't think this, but when I read your lead when I was editing it was in 2026, America will celebrate its 250th birthday, and my brain just went, will it?
I guess it might not. I mean,
It will. I mean, it definitely will. That's just, it was like the reflex.
Yeah. Good
all
call.
right. I feel like we covered that one. Let's move on.
All right. Tenino Railroad Day to feature renovated 1923 caboose, music, and more. This is the first Tenino Railroad Day. It's coming September 17th. I can't believe nobody skipped this one.
I was kind of ready to say skip.
Then
And
skip.
you got to be quick on the draw with the
Why?
skip.
Why is everybody? I don't get what's going on here.
Well, there was so little
We're just all
enthusiasm
pretending
for...
nothing's cool. Is that what we're doing?
no, it's cool.
What a lame caboose train day. Come on, Tenino.
I love trains. You guys know this
so
about
weak.
me.
So weak. I'm on the same vibe.
Except for the shoot music videos in it. That's pretty
That caboose won this newspaper an award, sir, for best headline.
What was the headline?
Tenino, come look at our caboose.
That was it?
That's golden.
Not bad. Anyway, the caboose is getting loose on September 17th. There will be a ribbon cutting at the Tenino Depot Museum.
The caboose is getting loose. I love that.
There you go. That was Tenino update.
All right.
Next item, Reporter's Notebook, searching for the weirdest thing for only $20 at the Packwood Flea Market. Emily went to the flea market. There was no shortage of strong contenders for weirdest thing.
Which is a Chronicle tradition for reporters to do, by the way.
We've done it a few years, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll break down the tradition for me.
That's it. The last few years, we've given reporters money and told them to go buy something weird and come back and write something about it.
It's
Last
kind of
year,
a
your first
competition.
time, I just didn't even get it in the paper.
Yeah,
So.
that was hurtful.
What did you buy?
The only thing that we've ever done that you didn't get in the paper.
Well,
though.
normally, you bring the photo, but you got to write up what it is, and only some reporters did that. So I just had like a pile of miscellaneous photos and a
What'd you end up
capsule
buying?
or two.
I bought a Jack in the Box that plays "Hail to the Chief," and then George Bush pops out when you get to the end
that's
of the
incredible.
song.
That is all.
I thought it was so funny. I thought it was like the
That's
best
pretty
thing. And
Wow, and that didn't make it.
They
in the
let it
paper.
go for $20.
I should have written this, but yeah, I had to haggle for it. I was like, listen, the only way I'm going to be able to have this in the newspaper is if it's $20 or under. And he was like, I don't know, it's worth $30. I was like, I'm sorry, it's 20 or nothing. And he was like, okay.
You should just use that every time you haggle out there from now on at every booth.
Yeah. I mean, it was true.
I'll put you in the
Are
corner.
we talking W or are we talking HW?
W.
Okay.
All right, well...
We found that. Do you remember when we found that box of like cutout clothing, and it was so you could dress the entire Bush family, and like you did start with the Bush family in their very tasteful underwear, like
Oh, so like a
or
paper
nightgown.
doll.
Yeah, that's what they're called. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they were
Paper dolls were very popular when I was growing up.
really.
Yeah, as like a toy.
When
I
you
had
were growing
like,
up,
yeah, I had Laura
I
Ingalls
don't know
Wilder
if I
paper
believe
dolls.
that. What if so we're
Why would I
talking like
have those?
2010.
I mean, I was probably too old for them by then. I was born in 98.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
I
weirdest
thought
thing
they were
Emily-
like from the 70s or the 80s. Because
No.
of the Bush family.
they're timeless. The weirdest thing Emily found was a coin purse made out of real dried cane toad, front legs included. Pretty weird.
It was neat. It's got googly eyes, like plastic googly eyes.
It
Creeps
is
me out.
so good. I'm obsessed with it. It's the weirdest thing. I think she won.
Yeah, she did a nice job. Anyway, any other thoughts
She had
on
$5 left over too. She got to keep that.
Wow.
The write up was great too. It's worth checking out because it was funny.
All right. Anything else
We
on
need
the
to do
Packwood Flea
more
Market?
reporters' notebooks. I like those.
Yeah. I try to do them when something's worth it. I just don't like totally populating the paper with first persons like I felt like I did on the river trip because I just feel like why does anybody care what I have to say? You know,
You're not wrong.
that's why you have
I don't-
sources. And so I try to be selective about it, but I've done 2 or 3, I think.
Yeah, you're good at them. The problem with first-person stories, as Aaron might know, is the people that want to do them most often are the least capable of writing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric Roseanne.
Here's a first person story of me walking to the river. Anyway, next news item. Former Onalaska PTSA treasurer accused of embezzling $18,000 pleads guilty to theft charges. This is Sarah Beth Miller, who was charged with the embezzlement. While there was approximately $17,000 in the account in February of 2020, it had just $20 at the time charges were filed in November of 2021. Pretty suspicious bookkeeping situation. She'll be sentenced November 5th.
Yeah, that was a wild one. One thing I liked about the way Emily wrote this story up was she usually with a thing before a sentencing hearing, we might see something along the lines of here's the maximum for it. But she actually went on to explain what the standard range was and the minimum and what it would mean for the judge to do more than that. And considering the amount of comments that we've had on Facebook recently to do with they should be sentenced more or this should be how it is or whatever. I just thought that was a nice ad, informational, just to know how the system kind of plays out.
We also had another alleged embezzler down in Toledo at GC's truck stop.
Oh, yeah, I
It's
saw
a big
that too.
embezzling week.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't had a good embezzlement in a while, so
Yeah, well, embezzling.
Now we got two.
It's the crime that does pay.
Debbie Knapp knows that.
Yeah.
Those who know.
Next item, White Pass Highway Shopper to publish final issue after 47 years. They published the next issue, September 7th, 2022, of the Highway Shopper will be our last. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity to serve you for 47 years. According to its website, the Shopper has a free weekly circulation of 6,500 through 270 local businesses.
Hey, if any of the people who worked at the Shopper want to educate me on how they do their outdoor stuff, I would happily sit down with you because...
Yeah, likewise. It's a huge loss. I do want to say that. Some people joke it's just this little tabloid that you pick up once a week. It's got, some would call conspiracy theories and just news snippets and puzzles and things. But the rec reports are extremely valuable. And I think along that US 12 corridor, that's really going to be felt. If you're wanting to go out on a forest road, that was what you would pick up first to check to see if it's open. Now your best option, unless you find the source, is to drive up and check to see for yourself.
Yeah.
And then maybe disappointed. So I'd love to get that stuff in the paper. So beyond employees or former employees, if anybody has a good thumb on the pulse of rec reports, fishing, hunting, and wants to do them for us, I'd love to talk them to them. Work something out. Along
that same note, and I'm sure we'll have more coverage of it in the future, but right now the White Pass Scenic Byway is looking at establishing a TREAD account, which I don't remember what it stands for, but it would try to create a hub of those kinds of reports, both from public lands and from users of them. But I don't know how far along it is on that possibly happening. It would be cool.
We got to get our hands on a final edition for the podcast room.
Yeah, bring it in. I mean, they came out today. I bet they sold out quick, though.
Oh, yeah. No, those are gone.
Next item.
Skip.
All right. Item skip.
Nicely done.
Next item.
To find out after the break why that particular item that we will never talk about was not talked about.
It just doesn't seem like whatever. Anyways.
It doesn't seem cool?
No, it just
doesn't seem newsworthy?
Just doesn't seem like it's one of the things that needs to take up the time. You can skip the one that I wrote.
Did you say it's all an act? Okay, let's go.
It doesn't pass the Isabel test of worthiness, which is having an Isabel byline.
That is not true. That is not true.
Next item. County. $620,000 paid for 203 animals at the junior livestock sale. This is one that wraps up the fair. The money raised from area businesses and citizens during the livestock auction was huge, said WSU Lewis County Extension Director Pam Watson. That is also an average of just over $3,000 an animal. It's a lot of meat.
This is impressive.
The funniest thing about this story is I tried to tease it on the front page today, and Isabel corrected it and said, "You were right, technically, but I don't think anybody would think that." The way I worded it, she was like, "The way this is worded, it looks like you're paying the animal $620,000." Who would think that, though?
I did. It said $620,000 for this many, 200 some animals. And I was like, well, the money's not going to the animals. So 4 is not the correct word.
Goose rolling through the fair with a fat stack.
And also,
the money's not just getting handed out to them.
It also looks like the county paid for 203 animals a little bit.
Yeah, it was more county they are the source. I try to do that on their press releases that I'm just rewriting.
Just give them a little pat on the
According
back.
to the county.
Guys.
No, it's more like if they're wildly off and we find out later, I can be like, well, I said it was the county who said it. I didn't say it. That's all Nick Scott, baby.
Yeah. Next news item. Officials visit largest homeless encampment in Centralia. A handful of county officials went on a little poverty tour to remind themselves
This is your commentary.
that the government is failing to address the issues that led to the encampment in the first place and criticize the people trying to help. There was a lot there. We got a lot we can dive into here. Anything in particular you guys want to get to?
No, I don't want to do another marathon homeless speech. So we get our one statement on this. And we'll keep it not short, but let's just do a statement rather than an argument. So you guys good with that?
That's fine.
Me personally, I enjoyed having a look inside the camp at the conditions these people are living in. Not because I enjoy it, but it's a curiosity, to be honest. There's this big giant encampment that I see when I'm driving to and from my house from time to time. And I thought it had news value, not for that, but sometimes that is what journalism is. It's just taking pictures of something that exists and showing it to people and saying, this is in your community. What do you think about that?
Because nobody has ever toured this place before, correct? I mean, this is the first time people have been allowed inside to see it. No county officials have toured it recently.
And the first time, everyone picked up the newspaper and saw it, and they all saw the story. Yes, Aaron. Yes. Everybody saw it once, and then we were going to move on from there and pretend like, it's not there. So I'm arguing now. I'm sorry. Turn my mic off.
Well, Aaron chose to argue with you as well.
One thing I liked was the reports of, they talked about how the Salvation Army shelter is unappealing because there's reports of rats there. And was this also mentioned as being like a health issue?
Well, obviously, rats are a health issue. It's something the Salvation Army has been working really hard to amend, and they've been working with the city to get that fixed. But it's still certainly a part of the puzzle, right?
Yeah, I guess I didn't see it as being that huge of an issue, given that when there was a rat problem in the Logan district, the city basically shrugged and was like, yeah, there's rats everywhere.
I don't know. Sometimes you're just trying to be argumentative. Like, the homeless people aren't balling up in the Logan district as their one safe haven.
No.
Like, we're having a shelter for them to go to, and we've had 2 homeless individuals come knock on the front of the Chronicle and tell us about the rat situation, wanting us to do something about it,
So it's
which
clearly
is not
something-
in my job descriping.
So it's clearly something that
isn't
people
this-
who have stayed there have experienced issues with. It's not just like, oh, we're finding another thing to blame. Like, this is, residents have told us.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also tell you, with your next point about the flood and how we just had one in January, my legs almost rotted off, Aaron. I don't know if you know that about me. And I'm pretty sure that was from cow poop or something. It had to have been something up the skook. I don't know what it was.
The flood legs were bad.
But that's not even the one concern. The other thing we had photos of was, and I didn't even know this, right at that point, there's a tunnel that goes all the way under the Interstate 5 bridge. And it's so when the flood crosses, like we all know it does, kind of cross Reynolds, skook right there, just kind of cuts through. It gives it at least a little bit of relief so it doesn't all have to cross over Harrison Avenue and work its way to the river that way somehow. And so there's concern that the debris all being packed there, it's just going to block that off.
Okay.
But I don't know what happened in January there.
But it's certainly true that the state of floodwater in Centralia is a health hazard, like to the general public. And when it's contributed to by waste that gets accumulated in an area that doesn't have a porta potty or doesn't have any other place for people to use the restroom, like that is a piece of this as well, right?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. The whole thing felt pretty exploitative to me.
I mean, one of the residents was even, I get that. I'm not cutting you down yet. I know a lot of people have that, so I'm not going to say anything against your point. I know concern was voiced by Chuck Wiegert, who you have here, about 4 overdoses inside of 1 week in there, which is another concern. And this is a resident, so this isn't all just us projecting troubles inside the homeless encampment.
I'm not saying you're projecting
No,
troubles.
not me. I'm saying the community projecting. This is someone who lives there being like, this is a problem.
Yeah.
So
I agree. It's not ideal. I just, the thing I take issue with is just like rounding up a bunch of elected officials to be like, let's go, hey, we got to go check this out. Like, you're not offering any solutions. You're not, the takeaway from it was like, well, our plan to crack the whip on the service providers is going to somehow change any of this. I don't know. Like they talked to Chuck Weigard, but like, did they offer to put him on any of their 15 committees that are,
I don't know that.
Populated entirely with local officials?
I know part of it
nobody actually working in the industry.
It was also bringing the new health officer in to have a look around the facility. I don't get the taboo of like you can't look or take pictures. Like individuals, no, I don't like that unless they want to be in a picture. You don't know that person's background, whatever. I don't get the big issue with you're showing people what is in the community, like on public property. Like
I agree. I think it was good to
understand
show because all of us, most people that live here drive by that place. And I've always wondered what it looks like inside there. So seeing the photos was really eye-opening to me to see what the conditions
I would
those people
say
live
this, Aaron. The story that I ended up writing was long. And that was not because it was, that was because I was very like, I was definitely thinking about what you're saying, which is like, we don't want this to just be like a tour of here's stuff that sucks or like here's these people's lives and it's bad or whatever. Like I did not want it to just be a play-by-play of the tour. And instead it was the best I could do, the closest I could come to summarizing where this issue is with Lewis County. And I will say, fortunately, that like these officials have a good enough relationship with the paper that I was able to do that and use this as like a vehicle to talk about where the issue stands right now. Mm-hmm. And I did try to add in a couple different details about the place, but I was trying to be very mindful of the fact that people do live here. This is their house. Like, this is where they are right now. And if we were walking through somebody else's residence, you probably wouldn't want to go into full detail. Like, I do think there's value in thinking about these people's privacy. And I think the story ended up being a good medium for me to kind of cover a lot of the different bases right now.
Yeah, it did cover a lot of angles. So that I don't have a problem with the story. It just feels like a poverty tour.
My final note, though, would be it would be helpful to show public officials a homeless camp when you're actively discussing creating a homeless shelter that would be much more controlled and not nearly as dangerous as that. And that is a part of an ongoing county effort at the moment.
Another interesting statistic, 24 people live in this place.
Approximately.
And over the last 2 years, the county has gotten $22 million in grants to address homelessness.
You think that you should build them houses, right?
Build them all, a $900,000 house. Case closed.
Yeah.
Not really, but it's
hard to argue with you on this one because you're just trying to dunk on them.
Well,
like it's like because that argument.
Really.
If you took that argument to Seattle, you would be on the side of people saying that we're spending too much money on it.
Yeah.
The thing is, everybody in Lewis County right now, I think, like from what I've seen in the past couple weeks, residents, service providers, and county officials alike feel as though there has been too much money per head spent that has not been effective. Like that's not a hot take. That's like what everybody has been saying.
Oh yeah, I'm aware. I think I've even said that. But no, it's just that it's a poverty tour. It's if there would have been some grander, we're taking action or doing something, but it seemed like somebody just rounded up their fellow elected officials and we're like, hey, let's go, it's like a 6-year-old kid going out behind a barn and flipping over a rock and being like, look at the bugs. That's what it felt like.
I also wish somebody was doing something, like trying to, I don't know, make a homeless shelter, look at how they're allocating the funds to see how they can improve it. It would be sweet if somebody was doing that.
It would be, yes.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's move on.
Anyway.
And I'm taking a big fat skip on this last one.
Come on.
It's not getting talked about.
That's fair.
All right. Well, I guess we'll take our little break then.
I'm glad we didn't argue.
Hi, this is Jasek from Summit Funding. Here's what a recent client is saying about us.
Hi, this is Chad Taylor. Have you been thinking about purchasing or refinancing your current home? The team at Summit Funding is the best in class. Looking for a conventional FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, or even a reverse mortgage? Trust the team at Summit Funding. Coralie and I did, and we couldn't be happier.
Thank you to all of our past clients. If you have any questions, give us a call at 360-330-4037.
We're back after taking a few minutes to cool off. And it's time for Tales from the Takes page.
Sorry, Aaron.
Letter to the editor. We need forward-thinking leadership for Lewis County.
Oh, of course you pulled this one out.
Letter writer writes, I loved Aaron VanTuyl's article on the power rankings of committees. Pause for applause. It was a breath of fresh air. It explains a lot about why nothing of substance seems to get done. She goes on to
This
write,
is great.
the Board of
Aaron.
Lewis County Commissioners is a prime example of why we should be ignoring what they say and watching what they do. Put it on T-shirts and shoot them out at cannons at the next parade.
I'm going to have somebody
Aaron.
write a letter
You're not gonna
about...
give yourself,
Loves you.
like, the celebration
So
button.
great,
This letter and I
Aaron.
are now dating, and things are going very well.
I shouldn't even say it, but I had a couple other emails of people that enjoyed your column as well. So,
Oh, really?
Maybe you need to start doing a column again.
yeah, it'd be
He's bringing
nice.
back
It's a
power
sign.
rankings. He already said he is.
Coward.
Then you can read letters like this all the time.
My next rankings will be
of how
Chronicle
good that will
executive
feel.
editors.
Chronicle letters to the editor. I was going to say,
Weakest editor, Eric
I'm going to have
Schwartz.
somebody write a letter about how
Weakest
great your
editor.
reading of the letter about how great your commentary was.
And then I'll write a column about your... do you guys have any other Tales from the Takes page you'd like to mention?
I got one. Bill Moeller, he wrote one today. It'll be in tomorrow's paper, Thursday. Hey, Centralia City Council, what are you thinking? And I just loved it. Bill Moeller got a little fiery. And I'm going to share this too. Bill's 94 years old. He came in here about a month, maybe 2 months ago, and kind of expressed that maybe he didn't have it anymore. And we told him to take some time off and, like, you know, no worries at all. And we're happy to run you whenever. Corley Taylor was extremely kind to him. He was like, you know, you're still going to get your regular check. It's fine. And then ever since then, he's just been on a hot streak.
Yeah.
It's like the fuel he needed was somebody to just tell him, we love what you're doing and keep doing it.
I was gonna bring this one up too because I love that it's a local column and like
Yeah.
it's great.
Ever since then, he's been sticking to local and all that too. But he's talking about Aaron's biggest beef with the city of Centralia and specifically Police Chief Stacy Denham, and with the Pearl Street pool still being closed.
Oh, Moeller was upset with that?
Yes, that's what
He
the
wants the
column's
pool
about.
open?
Yeah. What
good
are you
for him.
thinking, City Council? But my favorite couple of lines was, let me see here. I wish I had known the local group known as Stop Save the Outdoor Pool was going to appear at that meeting. I would have been there to add my feelings on the subject. I've never been a good ad-lib speaker. I'm almost always needed a script to go by, but the air might have had a different tint by the time I was finished. Like it was good stuff. So I just wanted to point that out, and that we continue to have Bill and all his experience as one of our columnists.
If Eric is the Chronicle editor-in-chief, then Bill Moeller is the Chronicle king.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's great. Let's see. Anything else?
No, I think that was it. There's a couple good letters in the paper today that you should pick up and have a look-see. But yeah, beyond that, nothing really.
People's Champion of the Week. I've got the Pasta Bowl. Amy Clark and Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett. Open it up across from Sunbirds and Chehalis. It's in the old, King's? Is that what it used to be? The restaurant that used to be there?
Yeah, I think so. Right by McDonald's there, across from Sunbirds.
Used to be a
Veggies.
Burgerville over there.
Yeah.
Until it burned down.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Italian food. Yeah. Sounds cool.
These guys are old.
I know.
What was the club?
across the street from
What was the
Chuck's
club
Wagon.
that used to be across from?
Oh.
It had like the circular, like full circle couch seating. It was.
I remember
it was
that.
Nice.
The one across the street from that place?
Yeah, it was
Chuck's
across
Wagon,
from,
right?
No,
Chuck's Wagon?
There was a Chuck's Wagon years ago. And then it was Thurman's, and now Thurman's is
El Serape.
no,
is
Thurman's
that?
is what's it? DB Cooper Appliances.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, that place. But I'm talking about the rest. I know what's in there now. In the used to be a club that was cited as one of the Bitcoin
Oh, really? Yeah, that
Bitcoin
makes sense.
miners. Yeah, that's a good pick. Everybody loved that story. I don't know why.
My
love the
other
There's
my
a
other
different kind of miners
nomination.
causing problems when it was a club.
Before you move, Isabel, you've eaten there. I don't think any of us have.
Oh yeah,
Thoughts?
I ate there. You know, I thought the food was great. I thought they might serve wine. They didn't, and hopefully they will eventually. But
Yeah, that
That
would
was
be a
my
good
only-
look for an Italian
yeah,
place.
that was my only critique. But I liked the food a lot.
So until then, bring your own wine.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, maybe they just haven't got a liquor license yet or
throw a
something. I
box
don't
up
know.
on
Or
the
maybe they
table.
aren't going to.
Awesome.
Maybe it's just about like the family vibe. I just felt like since I was eating Italian food, I wanted a glass of wine.
All right. We have one other entry.
Yeah, I put this one on here. So last week there was an overdose awareness event that was Gather at Church and Lewis County Public Health, and it was held in George Washington Park, and they were handing out Narcan. And then when we went on that tour that we were talking about just before the break, we found out that Narcan provided by the church had saved the lives of 4 residents at that encampment. And I thought that Gather really deserved the shout out for distributing literally life-saving medication.
I'm with Gather. I
Yeah.
like Italian food too. I just haven't been there yet. So when I go there and enjoy it, I'll come back and pitch them again.
All right.
Sounds
great. Yes, we can go with Gather Church. I think that's appropriate. They do good work. New segment alert. Well, it's an old segment now. And Isabel tried to duck out of it already today.
Well, I just,
In the
you
News Dump
said
Slack
there was a
channel.
lot of stuff. It's okay. I have 2 good ones for the segment is where I read my emails.
It's called Butter Emails.
According to Aaron, it's called that.
It's hilarious.
I don't get it. Butter emails?
Yeah.
Okay, so so the first one, RE, help. And the email begins in bold red font and says, "Can you help me?" And they then go on to describe that the emailer told Chad she and her husband had been a subscriber to the Chronicle for 68 years, but upon reflection realized it was actually 67 and needed this error to be corrected immediately.
Did you browbeat her?
What?
Did you browbeat her for lying to us?
Was it in
You
the
should be
story?
ashamed of
There
Well,
wasn't a story.
I-
She just
I know who this is, but
accidentally
I heard the
told
rules.
Chad something. Yeah, the rules are we don't say the
I
name.
listened. I was a good listener.
And then the other one is RE, trash, LOL, in all caps, exclamation mark. And the body of the email just says, "Thank you."
What, the fact that it says RE, like, are they replying to trash? Or is that just how your emails come in?
Oh, I'm just saying, like, that's the subject line.
Okay. All right.
It was about her litter pickup. It would be my assessment of it,
Yeah.
and she was just saying thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
It was just like, I think
take
it was
it that way.
I think it was about a story about litter, but it does not say that. It just says subject line, trash, LOL, thank you.
That's clever. I like their brevity.
It's great. Anyways, those are the 2 from this week. I feel like you guys didn't laugh at them as much as I laughed at them, but
Oh,
No, I thought they were great.
they were good.
all right.
All right. Next item. Siren's Banger of the Week. It's a good one.
Got 2 of them.
Centralia man accused of launching a bullet from slingshot during dispute charged with assault. This is Christopher Robin Chapman, 53, Winnie the Pooh's buddy. He's accused of striking and damaging a building on Gold Street with
Yes.
a .22 round that exploded on impact.
I didn't even know this was possible. That's why I told you this should have been in the running for Hero of the Week as well, since no one was hurt.
I agree. So people heard a gunshot and the cops came. Some people said they heard a loud bang and some did not. Some of them saw Chapman, who had a slingshot and was doing some arguing. The guy he was arguing with said Chapman had a gun, but he also said he had very poor vision.
I just like that made it to the report. Because it was, it very much applied.
He was like, well, maybe it wasn't. I don't know.
Like, what would, even if you were blind and someone took a shot at you and exploded, like, what would you think?
I think he had a gun.
Good
I'm
point.
pretty sure it was a gun, officer. It's not like he threw it at me or anything.
It's not like he used a slingshot. Defense attorney Rachel Tiller, during the preliminary hearing, said Mr. Chapman would like the court to be aware he does not possess or own any firearms, nor were any firearms found at the scene. So Chapman was hiding in a shed for a while, but then he came out and admitted he shot some plastic pieces toward the victim with his slingshot. But then he admitted he may have also shot a .22 round that may have exploded on impact. Apparently, that's a crime.
I hope it was George Costanza-esque with the detective. Is that illegal? You know, because if I had known that it was wrong, I wouldn't have done it. But no one told me not to shoot at someone with a .22
Got to
caliber
be a
bullet.
good shot, too, to get it to explode.
Yeah, you got to keep it from tumbling.
So
Yeah.
we have a lot of other sirens bangers that I feel need covering. One of
Do you
them.
want to discuss Meth Muffin?
Yeah, one of them being Winlock man accused of putting meth on Muffin. offering it to drug court participant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last part was the crime there.
I'm sure there's more to this story that isn't in the court documents, but maybe there wasn't. Maybe it was just like, I'm going to do my buddy a solid here.
The Chehalis Police Department secured the, quote, suspect muffin as evidence and sent a sample, quote, of what was thought to be methamphetamine from the chocolate muffin. So.
I just like that it was called a suspect muffin.
I love it. It's so good. And then we have a lot of really good suspicious circumstances in Thursday's paper, which, Aaron, do you want to take these?
It was a holiday weekend, just context here. So Chehalis never gets us their Monday reports because rightfully they're out of the office, I suppose. And so this one is Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday reports from Chehalis.
So we got a lot of them.
There's a lot of them in there.
Couple good ones. A man was reportedly throwing his bike up in the air and screaming a lot of interesting things in Chehalis on September 6th.
I love that one because it's like, why'd you call the cops if they were interesting enough,
Yeah, you were
Just
listening.
Listen.
You were
Might learn
accessory
something.
to the
Pay
crime.
attention.
On September 6th, just before 7:45, there was a report of subjects who, quote, looked like they were trying to get into a window to the school, the 200 block of South Market
I was
Boulevard.
actually gonna take that one out, and I forgot to. I just pasted like the last half of this section. Sorry. Anyways, but this is my next favorite one.
A man holding a box and, quote, looking for Sandman, looking for a Sandman, was reported on Jackson Highway on September 6th.
I wonder what he was doing. If he's just holding the box, like what was he doing for someone to have to call the cops on him?
He was looking for a
He's
Sandman.
looking for a Sandman, obviously.
Yeah, didn't you read it?
Is looking for Sandman a crime?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Prove he doesn't exist.
Yeah. Is that a crime? You don't wake up and you got the things in your eyes?
I feel like a Sandman is what really gets me here. He's not looking for the Sandman, but a.
Any of the Sandman to bring him a dream. Facebook comments of the week. There was a story posted about the...
I had one more that I liked. That
Okay,
it might not
go
be
on.
funny to anybody else, but approximately 12:25 on September 4th, a caller reported 2 juveniles who, quote, look like they're about 10 or 12, were smoking on a play structure on Southwest 13th Street. The caller requested that the juveniles either, quote, quit smoking or come down.
That one also made me laugh because of
One or the
or.
other. One or the other. Come down here and smoke or sit up there without your business.
I thought the exact same thing when I read that one.
kids, one or the other. And let's see. Facebook comments of the week on a story about the Liquor and Cannabis Board. Again, the Liquor and Cannabis Board busting an illegal pot grow with mushrooms and peyote. Commenter says, wow, what a great use of resources. Not like homeless camps have been physically overflowing into the public. Yeah, illegal cannabis is the real evil we should focus on.
Yeah,
Again,
a little lack of...
The
yeah.
Liquor and Cannabis Board making this bust.
Yeah, but from that story, the photos just amazed me that somebody thought that in 2022 they could just set up a literal entire store of marijuana, peyote, and mushrooms, and that their clientele would be so, rock solid in support that it would never leak out. Because it was quite the setup they had. It looked like a real pot store.
A lot of peyote. What's in tomorrow's paper?
Oh, gosh, I've already forgotten. I've told you we have the Emily Fitzgerald story, which is fantastic, I thought, on the current situation with the fire in Packwood. And also, Jared took incredible photos, not just of the fire, but of Mount Rainier, which is looking, and this often happens with fires, where you're like, fire is bad, but it makes for some spectacular photos sometimes when it comes to sunset.
It's a great package, that story.
There's good stuff in there. A little on the extended, or I guess more severe fire risk heading into this weekend. Supposed to get up into the 90s again. Red flag warning up in the Cascades. So not a good time to be setting off fireworks. I wish my neighbors would heed that. And then something I'm very interested in that I think Isabel's going to follow up on tomorrow. We wrote a little brief just on a meeting about potential new wind turbines in Lewis County. Lindsay Pollock, commissioner, is holding a meeting. You can find info on that at Cronline, and then by Saturday's paper, you have a nice full story, hopefully.
All right, great. I can turn them on.
Oh, and a little teaser. I went on a tour of the China Creek project today, and I'm going to...
How exploitive of the creek. Real misery tour for those species without habitats.
Yeah. I got to see fish, and they have a habitat actually. But anyways, it'll be just kind of an update on the project, which hopefully that'll be fun. It was fun for me.
Anything else we need to cover before we close out?
No,
You guys
I don't
sure?
think so.
Thanks to the roof doctor.
Yeah. We didn't even really give the roof doctor a whole lot of love.
Yeah, the roof doctor's great. Give him a call if you need a roof. Or if it's your birthday.
Oh,
I wasn't going to do nothing.
It is Eric's birthday.
I wasn't going to say nothing.
I was hoping you wouldn't, but on the other hand, I was hoping you would because I wanted to give you guys a little
Happy freaking birthday.
some sincere talk here. It's what I told my wife yesterday. Sometimes the best things in life are free, like love, appreciation, and a free estimate from the roof doctor. Head to theroofdoctor.com. Enter code Eric's birthday, and the estimate will be free.
Wow. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome. I had been holding on to that the whole time, but you guys are all just very inconsiderate, so.
Just forgot about your birthday until right now.